Hi, this is David from Ash IT. Now, I want to do a very quick review tonight on the new 2022 Legion 5i Pro. Now, last year I absolutely loved the Legion 5 and the Legion 7 range of laptops. They're such a fantastic machine for the price that actually Legion are putting these out for. Now, this is the 5i. Now, the I means Intel, so obviously the 12th generation Intel processors. And the 5 is more of the mid-range Legion gaming laptops, whereas the 7 is the more premium range. Now, last year I ended up keeping a 7 for myself for the office, and it's been a great machine over the years. And now Gary's got that one for doing his video editing. So when they released the 5i Pro with the 12th gens, I had to get one in. Now, it's going to be quite a quick review because if you're looking at the chassis, it looks almost identical to last year's model. The only real changes this year externally is we have a new lid, which in my opinion does look a little bit nicer than last year's lid, but gone is any RGB on this lid. So now all we've got is the RGB on the keyboard. Now this year I've actually got a multi-zone RGB keyboard as opposed to just the white backlight from last year, and that has been quite nice. And it doesn't use the IQ software of the Legion 7, and that is quite a positive in my book because that did cause a lot of battery drain issues last year and that still hasn't been resolved. Now, yes, you get less effects, but it's still pretty decent if all you want is some RGB lighting on the keyboard. So as you can see, externally nothing really has changed. All the changes are under the hood. So what we have this year is the Intel 12th gen CPUs. Now this is the 12700H, which is an absolutely incredible CPU. We've tested it in a few of the Alienwares. We've got the new TI range of RTX graphics cards and DDR5. So realistically, the 2022 version is just an internal refresh. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This has been an absolutely solid release of a laptop last year, and again with this year, this is a no frills, reasonably priced, amazing performing laptop. Now, you get no Windows Hello facial recognition or fingerprint sensors. You're not getting per key backlighting. The materials, there's a lot of plastics in here, but this allows Legion to keep the costs right down on this model. So basically, if you're looking for a fantastic performing laptop with absolutely no frills, and you don't want to pay through the nose for something like an Alienware or a Razer Blade, you should certainly be looking at a machine like this. The port selection is very good on this machine, with a USB on one side and USB-C on the other. A great selection of ports at the rear, with another two USB. We've got great upgradability with two M.2 Gen 4 SSDs and two DDR5 RAM slots that are available to upgrade. And the chassis is still reasonably compact and light for the 16-inch 16x10 resolution display in here. Open up is very easy. There's a nice lip on the front, which allows very easy opening of the screen, and it's solid hinges. And it also pivots back a fair way as well. The palm rest is made of plastic, and this is where they're saving costs on this Legion 5i Pro series. The touchpad also is plastic and feels reasonably cheap, especially compared to the Legion 7 or Alienwares or Razer Blades. It works okay, but you're going to probably be using a dedicated mouse with a laptop like this anyway. But in a pinch, if you use this machine, you can get by on it. It's certainly not my favourite touchpad, but it responds reasonably well. The keyboard is excellent. The layout is good. The tactile feedback is really good. And I enjoy typing on this machine. But the star of the show is this 16-inch display. It's bright at 500 nits. It's a 16x10 aspect ratio, which is great for work and play. The resolution is 2560 by 1440, which is a great middle ground, which makes everything look really sharp on the screen. But you can actually power it with the 3060 right way through to 3080 Ti graphics cards available for these models. It also includes Advanced Optimus and G-Sync, making it a great all-round package for this actual machine. Now the speakers, as usual, are quite average. Don't get particularly loud, and the clarity is only okay, which is the case for pretty much all gaming laptops I've had my hands on recently. The webcam looks and sounds like this. This is a test of the webcam and the microphones on the Legion 5i Pro for 2022. And as I mentioned, there's no facial recognition, there's no fingerprint sensor. This is an absolute no-frills laptop. But let's get to the performance section, because that is where this machine absolutely shines. Now, bearing in mind that this is very reasonably priced, particularly in the UK, cheaper than pretty much any other gaming laptop with these sort of specs, the 12700H CPU in this machine performs on par with the much more expensive Alienware X17s and bigger laptops out there, which is quite incredible considering how compact this chassis is. Now, fans can ramp up a bit if you're in the high performance mode, but that's kind of to be expected to push the heat out of these new CPUs. From all my testing of these 12th gen CPUs so far, they are running very hot, and then you need a lot of watts to be able to power all the cores in the CPU. And like the Alienware X17, this will take about 115 watts, no problems, So giving you great Cinebench and Geekbench scores for these 12th gen CPUs. Also moving on to the GPU, we've got the 3070 Ti in this model, and we've been given the full 150 watts that NVIDIA allows for this graphics card. Performance is fantastic when gaming. Even on the native 2560 by 1440, the gaming performance is excellent. There's no throttling, the temperatures aren't too bad, and the fan noise is even okay. If you're gaming in the balanced mode, it does reduce the actual TGP to about 115 watts, but you're gaming at about 49 to 50 decibels, which is very comfortable. If you whack it into the high performance mode with that function Q, you get the full 150 watts, but then the fan noise does ramp up to 55 decibels. But although it is ramping up at 55 decibels, it's a steady sound and it's not uncomfortable in my opinion. There's no whine to these fans, it's just a whoosh of air. Another thing I've loved is the temperatures are okay on the internals, even better than the Alienware X17 I've recently reviewed, and that is impressive considering this is an actual smaller laptop. But also, there's actually no heavy sort of temperature on the keyboard or the palm rests. So when you're actually resting your hands on the WASD key or the palm rests, you're not going to get scorched fingers, which is something I hate about some gaming laptops, such as the Razer Blades. Now, as usual, battery life with these 12th gens is pretty poor. I haven't had a single 12th generation laptop in yet that's actually impressed me in the battery life. This one with 200 nits of brightness streaming YouTube over Wi-Fi, we've got about 5 hours, which is very average. That is with the keyboard backlight on, but even so, if you change it to 60 Hz and turned off the keyboard backlighting, I'd be surprised if you got anywhere near 6 hours. So overall, like with all these 12th generation chips, it's very average, but the performance is incredibly snappy on battery. So if battery life isn't your absolute key, these do make great machines, but if you're looking for a gaming laptop with decent battery life, you should really be looking at the Ryzen processors, because a lot of those we've had in have had upward of 10 hours of battery life. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to get hold of any of the 6000 series range of Ryzen laptops in yet. So that leads me to the conclusion. Now, Legion have made this a very well priced laptop, especially in the UK. There's £1,500 I paid for this model with the 12700, 16GB of DDR5 and the 3070 Ti. It is a no-frills laptop, as I've mentioned a couple of times, but you're getting incredible gaming performance with this machine, easily on par to the X17 Alienware that we've reviewed, which costs £1,000 more than this model. You're also getting a great keyboard, good build quality, an amazing screen, and good upgradability with the RAM and the SSD being able to be changed on this model. It's also pretty compact considering you've got a 16-inch screen in here. So if you're looking for just a great all-round gaming laptop and you don't want to break the bank, this is certainly a model that you should be considering. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of this Legion? Would you consider buying this, or would you consider paying an awful lot more for a Razer Blade or an Alienware? And as always, thank you for watching.